God grant you health. How may I help you?
I've taken care of the camp.
Where's the proof?
Here it is.
Good work. It looks like your work is done here at Ratai. I haven't heard of any other camps, so we may finally have some peace and calm. Good work.
Thank you, Captain.
But have no fear of idleness. I've sent word to Captain Robard. They're expecting you at Talmberg. There are Cuman hordes rampaging through their woods.
Very well, Captain. I'll set off immediately.
Glad to hear it.
Is it true the executioner has a visitor?
And they say he has a hard time finding a woman.
Aye, I'll be back in 2 shakes.
Good day, Henry. I'm glad you're here, Henry.
What's happening, sir?
Uncle Sahanush sent for me. No doubt he wants to give me another ear-bashing about the error of my ways. And he said to bring you too.
Oh, Sakra. That doesn't sound good.
Indeed. I wonder what he wants to lecture me about this time. And you, because you're going with me.
All right, we should get going then, shouldn't we, Sir Hans? The sooner we get it over and done with, the better.
I suppose so. Right away. I put some of my old clothes in a trunk for you. I don't want you making me look bad in front of Hanush. So go and get dressed up before we head off.
Thanks, Sir Hans. I'll go and get changed now.
Coming right up.
So, should we go then?
Let's go. And by the way, I'm glad you got dressed up properly. Clothes make the man, and in your case, it's quite a transformation.
My home, my family, my
Come along, then.
livelihood. Please.
Well, my ward and his, what shall we say, chaperone.
Uncle.
My lord?
I hope we haven't dragged you away from anything too important.
Not at all, Uncle. We
like
were just...
boozing and whoring, for instance.
Uncle, I can...
Perhaps you were busy, causing mayhem in the middle of the night and beating up my subjects.
No, it wasn't... Henry and I were just...
Henry's as big a fool as you are. But he's not my ward, thank Christ. What the hell do the pair of you think you're doing? There are people in this fiefdom who work from dawn to dusk to put food on their tables, and on yours, may I remind you. And then they look at you, Hans, their lord and master, and see a drunken layabout. That fellow you beat up last night was a guard, a new guard on the town watch. And he couldn't report for duty this morning because of his injuries. I had the bailiff here complaining, and could I tell him what I really think about this whole sorry affair? Of course not. That would demean me. And you too. So I had to sit gaping like a stuffed owl and listen to his grievances. Maybe you think because you're the lord here you can get away with anything. But you're sadly mistaken, you blockhead. A lord remains a lord only as long as he commands the loyalty of his subjects. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you the folk here are not exactly enchanted at the prospect of having you in charge. That was the last straw, Capon. One more of your escapades and I'll send you to your mother in Polnar. For all I care, she can dress you up like a wench and marry you off to some Hungarian.
Uncle, that arson Archibald tried to murder me. What was I to do?
Oh, don't exaggerate. Well, I'm hardly surprised after you molested his girl and humiliated him.
I was only...
Oh,
I'm
don't
so-
whine, for heaven's
sorry.
sake. It's about time you started taking some responsibility. I have a job for you. Maybe that will keep you out of mischief. Sir Milota of Oleshna has turned up here. Do you know him?
Isn't he Sir Bernard's cousin?
He is. He came here with a remnant of his retinue to seek refuge. He's seriously wounded.
What happened to him, sir?
His fortress Oleshna was attacked by one Wulfrin of Camburg. Milota pursued him almost as far as Neuhof and engaged with him. Unfortunately, the skirmish didn't end well for Milota.
Wulflin of Camburg, that name is familiar.
He's kin to the Oleshna lords, too, a cousin of Bernard's and Milota's. Their family affairs are a little complicated. None of my business, of course. I just wish they'd found somewhere else to thrash out their differences.
What do you want us to do, sir?
Go and see Bernard in the courtyard. He got a report that Wulfrin pillaged some other farms around Neuhof, and he's putting a squad together to ride against him. Mind your step, though. It's a family affair. After all, maybe more to it than meets the eye. The important thing is to get that damn scavenger out of the domain. If possible, without bloodshed. I can't afford to lose any men over this business. Have I made myself clear?
Yes, sir.
Very well, Uncle.
Get to work, then.
But those sneaky fuckers are always hiding somewhere in the
Greetings.
woods like animals.
What do you need?
With the nobles, you know where you are.
So, what do you
They
think
have
about
nobles.
this?
Old Hanush is right about one thing. It's time to stop chasing wenches and start chasing bandits.
I don't like
It'll
it.
be a bit of excitement for a change.
You get paid, don't you?
You can't take it with you, though, can you?
Excitement?
Everyone has to die
I don't know,
sometime.
Sir Hans.
Soldiering
Men will
is as good
die.
a job as
Don't be such a wench, Henry. What kind of a life would a knight have if he never crossed swords with a foe? What would he talk about at banquets, eh?
Has anyone seen my belt? I can't find it
Fortunately, I'm not a knight.
If you didn't booze so
Don't
much,
worry,
maybe you
everything
wouldn't
will be
keep
all
losing
right.
your things.
We'll ride there, hack those bastards to pieces, and celebrate with a good drink in the evening.
I never knew Bernard had
But Sir Hanush said we should get them out of the
Fall out of the
fiefdom
sky.
without bloodshed if we can.
Everyone's
And
got
how
paid.
else do you suppose we can do that?
He's from a noble
With
family.
diplomacy?
They've got a fortress and all.
You can't parley with criminals. That would just damage Uncle's reputation. Every lowlife would think he could rob him without fear of reprisal. Enough talk. Let's mount up.
I never knew Bernard had kin.
He didn't fall out of the sky, did he? Everyone's got kin.
Sir Hanush sent me, Captain. I'm to join your mission. And Sir Hans, too.
And mount up, youngster, and we'll move out.
What is it?
Jesus, look where you're going.
Lord Capon, when we get there, I'd like you to hold back.
You can forget about that one. I'm not going. Hanush said to handle this matter, and Hans is going with him. What you do?
Very well, Your Grace.
Listen, Bernard. About this robber. I heard some rumors.
About his being a relative of mine, Melotus?
Something like that.
We have the same great-grandfather, Urban, Baron of Oleshna. Wolfen belongs to a distant branch of my family, which... let's just say they bring no honor to our name.
But I heard Wulfen of Camburg was hanged somewhere in Silesia after plundering the bishop's estates.
I heard the same. Only, well, I'm sure you've heard what they say about the Camburg branch of my family.
That they're cursed. Now, Bernard, don't you think I'm a little old for fairy tales?
Think what you like, but I heard it from my grandfather, and he never paid attention to old wives' tales.
I meant no offence, Captain. Well, tell me all about it then. After all, there's no smoke without fire, and I never heard about the Camburg plan from a member of the family.
Very well. At home, we always spoke in whispers about our Camburg relatives. When Wolfen's father, Wilhelm, came to visit, almost ashamed to say it.
You can rely on my discretion, Captain. Carry on.
Well, The servants were so afraid of him that they went and hid in the barn. Father had them whipped. Even then, they wouldn't go near Wilhelm. They were afraid he'd cursed them, and I couldn't blame them.
Why's that?
Wilhelm's face was so badly disfigured, folk would cross themselves when they saw him. I was afraid of him myself as a boy.
Was he wounded in war?
No, he was born that way. You see, his mother, Countess Barbara of Haugwitz, didn't want to marry Wilhelm's father, my grandfather's brother. She never wanted to bear his children. So, when she fell pregnant, they say she went to a witch to get rid of the child. Only she ended up having quintuplets. Can you imagine it? 5 babes born in one night?
Jesus Christ!
That's not all. 4 of them didn't live till dawn. Only the 5th survived. He was disfigured. Wilhelm. They say the witch cheated her, and instead of getting rid of the child, she put the devil's seed inside her.
Good Lord, how dreadful!
Well, Wilhelm carried that with him his whole life. When his own wife was in childbed, he had 7 friars kneeling in her chamber day and night. It didn't stop the rumors, though. When his son, Wolfen, was born, he looked normal enough, but he turned out to be as wild as a stray tomcat.
It seems he hasn't grown out of it.
You're right about that. A few years ago, Wolfen went off to Poland, and Wilhelm got worse and worse. He cursed everything and everyone in his path, started throwing crockery at the servants. He was on his deathbed. He sent for a priest, not just to give him the last rites, but because they were afraid the devil would come out of him and possess someone else. Then later, Wolfen turned up, even though he was supposed to be dead for years. There were folk who said he was dead. That wouldn't stop the devil spawn.
Sweet Jesus. It sounds a lot more convincing coming from you than the stories my nurses used to tell me. How are we supposed to deal with a monster like that?
Prep. Whoa! Vitus and Cyril.
God save you, Henry.
I sent them to scout ahead.
Those bastards will pay for this.
They most certainly will. Let's go. We have to make camp. Hamlin, we'll take 2 men and come back here later. I won't have Vitus and Cyril left as crow meat.
Yes, Captain.
God's blessings. What can I do for you?
Tell me, Captain, how come this Wolflin is attacking his own kin?
They say blood's thicker than water, but sometimes I wonder. Look at our king and Sigismund.
So what's the cause of your conflict with Wolflin?
Nothing in particular. Just that he's a ruffian, a treacherous bastard, and a bandit. No wonder the whole Camber clan is cursed.
How are you related?
Miloda, Wolfen, and I have the same great-grandfather, Urban, Baron of Oleshna.
How do you mean cursed?
Like I said, Wolfen's grandfather married Countess Barbara of Haugwitz. She didn't want to bear his child and went to a witch to get rid of it. Only instead of getting rid of the unborn child, she ended up having 5.
What, all at the same time?
All in one night. But only one of them lived till morning. The youngest, Wilhelm, and his face was disfigured. They say the witch deceived the countess, and it was Satan himself who impregnated her.
And you believe that story?
Depends how you look at it. Wilhelm wasn't a bad man while he was in his right mind, but he was terrifying to look at. I still get shivers down my spine when I think of him. As for Wolfen, word came that he died in Silesia. Then, one day, he appeared from nowhere. There are folk who say death has no power over him.
What do we do now?
First, we have to find out where those Horsons are holed up. According to the reports, they raided a few farms around here. So someone should go to those places and find out what they can. You should do it, Henry. My men would probably just startle them.
Isn't it dangerous?
About as dangerous as sitting here in the camp.
Yeah, I suppose you're right, sir. Where are the farms they raided?
One is uphill from Neuhoff, right by the woods. One here above the woods by the crossroads, directly north from our camp.
Captain Bernard sent me to find out about the raid. What exactly happened?
Those filthy cutthroats beat my husband black and blue, then stole all our food stores and vanished, poxy bastards. Poor Lumiere, he didn't want to let them get away with it, so he chased them as far as the woods. But they cut him down, and now I'm afraid he'll not live to see the light of day.
Did you see which way they went?
Along the track here, straight into the woods. My old man gave chase and fought with them by the old hunter's shelter. He slashed one of them with his sickle. He bled like a stuck pig, the bastard.
You think he might have been bleeding enough to leave a trail?
Maybe. Who knows? I just hope he's in hell where he belongs, the poxy bastard.
What were they like?
Swine and lousy curs, that's what they were like.
That's not what I meant.
No, sorry. They weren't your ordinary footpads. They were well dressed, and they talked of some lord called Wolflin.
I thought as much. Is there something I can do to help? With your husband, I mean.
I fear only God Almighty can help him now. Although, there is one thing you could do. I have to keep changing Lumiere's bandages, but I'm running out of clean linen, and I don't want to leave him alone here.
I'll see what I've got.
God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. I'm grateful. I'll go and bandage him up right away, and let me give you a few groschen for your trouble. I've nothing left here except a few groschen I buried down by the creek. Luckily, those bastards never found them. I'll be glad to reward you.
Keep it. You need it more than I. They took everything you had.
Not everything, because you saved my dear husband. Take it. I insist.
Very well, then. Thank you.
What are you doing here?
Why do you ask? Can I not take a walk in the woods without being accosted?
I ask because I'm the gamekeeper here, and it's my job to protect these woods from poachers.
Well, I'm certainly not poaching.
In that case, you won't mind if I have a look what you've got on you.
Certainly. Go ahead and look.
All right. Nothing suspicious here. You may leave, Goodman.
This is the way. He was bleeding plenty. Should be easy to track him. Blood. This is the right way. Looks like I found it. I'd better get back and report to Captain Bernard. Blood. This is the right way.
Fighting, never losing, robbing, fucking, whores and boozing.
Good day, Henry.
God grant you health. How may I help you?
I found that encampment.
Ah, I'm glad to hear it. Is it far?
Not really.
How many men did you see?
Around 10.
The same as us. Well, now we'll see if my cousin is really as tough as they say. Otherwise, he'll be swinging tonight from the Rattay ramparts.
Wouldn't it be better to parley with them, sir?
Parley with robbers? You must be out of your mind, lad.
Well, Sir Hanish ordered me to avoid unnecessary casualties.
What are you trying to say?
I could go and parley with Wolflin. Even if it comes to nothing, I could have a good look at his encampment.
Bit of spying could well be of use, all right. And Wolflin's a conceited bastard. If he knows you come from me, he'll receive you just for a chance to tell me to go to hell. I'll give you a livery with my coat of arms, so it's clear you're my messenger. And you'll have to go unarmed.
Thank you, Captain. I'll do my best.
I hope so. And try and come back in one piece. I don't want to explain to Sir Radzig why I sent his favorite into a robber baron's camp unarmed.
Never losing, robbing, fucking, whores and boozing. Take the women, burn the village, drink, annihilate, and pillage.
Hey, you! What do you want?
I'm Captain Bernard's envoy. I'm here to parley.
Why should I trust you?
I'm unarmed. What harm can I do?
That's true, and you are wearing Sir Bernard's colours. I suppose I should take you to Sir Wolflin, but if you try any tricks, you'll regret it. Understood?
You have my word.
What the hell are you looking at? Come with me! Damn!
Who do we have here? What's your name, boy?
Henry. I'm a messenger from...
I know. From my beloved cousin, Sir Bernard of Oleshna. So, what exactly is your message?
Why do you want to hurt the lords of Oleshna?
That bastard Malota stole villages that belonged to my father. I was in Poland when my father died, and Malota convinced everyone I was dead too.
But you came back though, didn't you?
Aye, I came back. But Malota bribed a priest to testify that my father made him a deathbed confession. That bastard swore my father told him he was possessed, and so was his son, me. So they think I rose from the dead and I'm a warlock. They won't hear my claim.
That's unfortunate. But surely the courts of the king wouldn't believe a story like that.
Maybe not, but the king's in captivity, and none of the nobles have time for courts. No one will hear my case, and by the time this turmoil is over, everyone will have forgotten about me.
I heard some interesting tales about you. They say your family is cursed.
So Bernard's been telling those stories again. How my Oleshna cousins do love to gossip.
So your father didn't have...
What? A twisted mouth? Aye. Looked like it was run over by a wagon. And he was born with 4 siblings and none of them lived. True. But they always leave one thing out of that fairy tale.
What's that?
That my grandmother was one of 5 babes and her mother one of 4. That's how it goes in that family. And then that talk of the witch. Pah! My grandma couldn't wait to marry my grandfather and give him children.
We offer you safe conduct out of this domain if you leave everything you stole from Sir Hanish's subjects and pay 30 groschen in compensation.
That's a very generous offer. But tell me, why should I accept?
Because you don't know what you're up against.
Don't I?
Sir Hanish has a guest in Rattay. The royal hetman, Sir Radzig Kobyla. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Of course. What of him?
Sir Radzig's gathering forces in Rattay to march against the king's enemies. So I'm sure you understand that your family quarrel, or rather your way of settling it, is quite a nuisance to him.
Say no more. I heard Radzig was driven out of Skalitz, but I didn't know he was in Rattay.
So you'll leave?
I wouldn't want to go up against an old friend.
You know each other?
Indeed we do. Give him my regards, won't you? And when he marches against Sigismund by the grace of God, tell him to send word to me in Camberg. I'd hate to miss it. And now go back and tell that Oleshna Viper that we're moving out. But don't let him think he's frightened us off. It's out of respect for Sir Radzig.
I'll tell him. You're doing the right thing.
Run along, then.
Sick head. Can't drink no more today.
How are you, Henry? God grant you health. How may I help you?
I've just come back from Wolflin, Captain.
And in one piece, I see. That's something at least, but I doubt you achieved anything.
I talked them into moving out. Not only that, but they left all their loot and 70 groschen too, as compensation.
I can hardly believe it. That turned out a lot better than I expected. The coin is for Sir Hanush, I expect.
Naturally.
Well then, take the money and ride to Ratai. In the meantime, we'll break camp and make sure those bastards keep their part of the bargain.
Right, Captain. I'll be on my way.
And Henry, nice work.
Henry! Just the man I want to see. I need help with something.
What's the problem, sir?
The Archbishop's vicar has come to Uzhitz. I don't know why exactly, but the rumor is that he's on the hunt for heretics, which frankly never meant any good, especially for me.
I'm sorry, but I'm not really up on religious ranks, sir. What does a vicar do, exactly?
You don't have to apologize. It's the devil's own work to make sense of their twisted hierarchy. The vicar is short for vicarious, meaning in place of. He has full power to act on his superior's behalf.
I see.
In this case, sadly, the superior in question is that nincompoop, Archbishop Zbigniew Hare of Hassenburg.
What should I do about him, then?
Firstly, find out why he's really here. He might truly be on the hunt for heretics, which wouldn't be good news. Or it's equally possible he's here to size up my estate, which would be even worse.
I understand. And then what?
The best thing for me and all concerned would be for him to pack his bags and go back to Prague.
And how can I, encourage him to do that? I can't just kick him out, can I?
No, of course not. But if you can make him believe there's nothing to find here, he'll be off in no time. So tell him I've sent you to assist him.
I understand. And my task is to assist him in finding nothing.
Indeed.
And what if there really are heretics?
My boy, have you ever seen a heretic?
No.
There, you see. I haven't either. Most of the time the prelates just invent them to scare folk with. So don't put much faith in their existence.
But
what if there really are some? Then deal with them. But make sure that interfering bastard gets out of here.
Are you at odds with the Archbishop in some way, sir?
No, I've never even seen him. But that's no guarantee he doesn't have his eye on my estate.
But how could he get his hands on it?
He's an archbishop. They have long fingers, my boy. And now, without the king around, it's the perfect time to amass a nice little hoard. Believe me, I know. They say in Prague that he's a complete dolt. But I rather doubt that.
Why?
All the Hare clan are as shrewd as they come. I know that better than most.
Uh-huh. Very well. I'll get going straight away.
Good luck, lad. And be careful. Clergymen are wily weasels, so take care.
I'll be careful. Don't worry, Sir Hanush.
God bless you. What troubles you?
I have news from the camp, Sir Hanush.
Speak.
I persuaded Captain Bernard to let me parley with Wolflin.
Bernard agreed.
I'm surprised.
So was I. I promised Wolflin safe conduct out of your territory on condition he leave all the loot he took and pay 60 groschen in compensation.
Well done. It will take Bernard a while to get over his disappointment at not being able to get revenge. But the important thing is, we're rid of that troublemaker. I must say, Henry, after all that's happened recently, I'm glad something finally turned out well.
So am I, sir.
And I think you deserve to be rewarded for your efforts.
Thank you, sir.